Welcome to the Release Your Blocks podcast. I am your host, Victoria Bond. I am a spiritual empowerment coach. I help teach others to show up to their potency so they can fulfill their mission here on earth. I am so glad you are here. And if you are interested in becoming a medium, if you're interested in becoming a life coach, or if you're interested in shifting your life from the 3D to live more in the 5D reality, then check me out, book a clarity call, and let's get chatting. Hello, beautiful souls. I have been inspired by one of my Evolve Mastermind members. She voxed me this morning and asked me some really great questions. So I thought, after giving her a channel, I would come on here and give you guys a bit of a channel with what we were talking about. So one of her questions is, when a spirit doesn't realize that they have passed away, and then you go to clear them or you get somebody else to clear them, then can they come back to visit us? And I thought this was a really great question because in Magnificent Mediumship, we do a lot of energy and entity clearings. And of course, when you have a loved one that you feel around, maybe it's like a husband or wife, maybe it's a child or a grandparent or a friend, then of course, there can be a bit of resistance in getting someone to do a clearing or clearing them yourself and inviting them to go to the light or whatever it is, whatever your perspective is on crossing over type of thing, because they don't want to let go of their child, their spouse, their friend, their grandparents or whatever it is. And it's very understandable. So what I said in the information that came through for this member of mine was, spirit have choice. Now, quite often, spirit don't know that they've passed away if they were on high levels of like drugs or alcohol, even if they're in a hospital and there's a lot of prescription medication, quite often I'll actually have to tell, a spirit, I'm like, hey, do you know that you've passed? Because the way that they're presenting themselves to me is if they know that they're alive. They might think something's a bit odd or a bit off, but they haven't figured out that they have passed. They believe that they still have a body. Key point, no one ever dies. We just transform. We are embodied now, right? But of course, what would happen if we didn't have a body? We would still be who we be, but the pros of that is we can travel throughout dimensions. We can visit people. We can do things that you can't do with a body necessarily, unless you're asleep, of course, and you can leave your body. But the other thing is, of course, you don't have that physical interaction with your loved ones, which is where the grief really comes in and it's harder to talk and stuff. So long story short, I said to my client, spirit have choice. And when we clear these spirit, we can let them know that they have total choice of what level of consciousness they are choosing. They can choose more. They can grow. They can expand. They can go and come and all these different things. But it's very important. And the point that I want to make is it's very important not to hold on to entities, spirit, your loved ones that have passed on. It's very important not to hold on to them, because if we hold on to them on a physical sense, like you want them to be with you all the time, then they quite often will, especially if they're not super aware that they have passed over or if they are mourning for you too. Because everything's a mirror. So if you're mourning for somebody, they are probably mourning for you as well. So when we cut the cord ties with those spirits and we essentially say, hey, thank you so much for being here. I love you. Go be free. You clear them. You're giving them a choice to be cleared. You are inviting them to another possibility. We do this every day with our friends and families, the ones that are embodied. We have these conversations and we go, what about this possibility? Or what about this? We help each other out. And that's all we're doing with spirit. We are certainly helping them. Now, the reason why it's so important to let them go and know that they'll come back and visit and all the things, but they can't be with you all the time, is because they do not have a body, they need something to anchor down. Now, before I got into mediumship and into my channeling and all the things that I do now, I was an energy clearer. It was my first touch point. And I believe that spirit took me through that process so I could have a deep understanding about this going into mediumship. A lot of mediums struggle because they don't know how to clear their space to let go of the spirit and to stop the mind chatter. Mind chatter, exhaustion, overwhelm, burnout, all of those things can be because the spirit, the entity, the loved one who is now not embodied, is actually holding on to you as their anchor. Now, this is why people can get so drained in the grief. This is why they may not be able to move forward. This is why they get exhaustion, maybe even like chronic fatigue, adrenal fatigue. All these different things can actually happen because we have entities attached to us. Sounds kind of crazy. And you think, why would my loved person do that to me if they knew they were draining me? They don't know. They're just trying to do whatever it is that you are desiring, because we would do anything for the people that we love. So many a times I've got to be like, hey, if I'm with a client, I'll be like, is there an entity attached to you? And they're like, yes. I'm like, okay, I think that's your grandma, or it could be your child. Those ones are obviously highly sensitive because no one wants to let go of their child if they've lost a child. But if that child stays with you, to stay down here, it takes a lot of effort for them, a lot of effort, because they're not, they're not in this density. They are light. It's really, really intense. They don't have our body. When we see their holograms, like when I see spirit, I'm seeing a hologram of somebody who was. They're showing me that so I can understand who it is, so I can connect in. So they're very telepathic, showing you stories and connecting in with you. Reading is just so beautiful. And it takes a lot of releasing and letting go of your points of view on how to read, obviously. But, coming back to the point here, we have to let them go. Now, I was totally taken over with entities when I acknowledged that I was a medium, because they knew I was a medium. I knew I was a medium. It's like I was getting whispered, you're a medium. I'm like, what are you talking about? And then what happened is I couldn't sleep. I was so fatigued, I couldn't even leave my bed. I was actually experiencing what felt like deep depression. But I had all these entities trying to get the information through to me to tell their loved ones. While I had two little tiny children, that actually happened when I was pregnant with my second child. It happened quite deeply. And I learned very quickly that I couldn't carry all of those spirit. So even my loved ones, I had to let go, because some of them I'd been like holding on, Nana, help me through this, So spirit have choice, and they are still who they are. You don't die and then all of a sudden you're like, oh my gosh, I know everything. Like they say that your life flashes before your eyes. And, I believe that to be true, that you see different things, you have all these different experiences. I see spirit, what they show me is that they go through like a processing system. Like I was sitting there having a coffee with a friend, and we're all of a sudden in a cafe, and I'm like deep in this channel because her dad's there. And it was like a whole hour of not having coffee. It was of me channeling for her in the middle of a cafe. And I was like, your dad isn't here. He's going through processing. What the heck does that mean? So as he was conscious enough to go, oh, I'm going to go clean out. I'm going to go process. I'm going to go heal. I'm going to go, become more conscious. And when we become more conscious, we can't have judgments or points of views or considerations. Consciousness, which is more of a 5D energy and beyond, is space. It's oneness. It's like union. It's like love. It's expansion. 3D is more dense with points of views and polarity. But this beautiful man that I'm thinking of now, who's actually just jumped in, because this is what a channel is, right? I'm just channeling and he's come through. He's a healer. And he's telling me now he's actually come out of this processing. Which is so interesting, because I saw his daughter's name today, who's my friend. So I have to go message her after this, right? Or she'll message me. That's usually the way it rolls. And Now he's given me all this information, so I'm just going to ask him to step aside, and I'm sure he'll come back through later. But he is saying to me that he's going to be a guide. Okay, thank you, Spirit, because Spirit's now giving me an example, which is what I wanted to get into. So just to round out what I was saying, Spirit has different levels of consciousness. They can choose to become more conscious. A lot of them stay in their old points of views and they stay in that level of consciousness because that's what they are choosing. We have been told there's heaven and then there's like purgatory and there's hell and all these different things depending on your belief. Your belief is your belief. Your belief is correct for you. You get to create your own reality, right? Because everything is molecules, and we get to shift and change our perspective and create our reality. So when I was like full-blown Catholic, that's what I believed, that was what was true to me. And now I have a different perspective through my experience of what is, aligned for me. So my truth was never wrong. It just shifted in perspective, and there's no right or wrong. So it's really important to know that there is different dimensions and there's different like layers. I don't like saying levels because no one is better than anyone else. It's purely choice, right? So this information is very 5D information because there is no right or wrong. It seems kind of like a little bit airy-fairy and there's no solid thing to grab onto, but that is what consciousness is truly about, choice. So coming into spirit guides, like once you go through this processing system, if you require that, and my friend's father did require that because he had cancer and was this beautiful, incredible healer. He had actually healed himself in his lifetime as a human. He had done it naturally, and he had done the same for his granddaughter, where the medical system was kind of like, it was going to be very, very hard to help them, I believe, if not impossible. And he was able to go into healing modalities and use herbal stuff and all the things and like really help himself live a long life. He died like an old man, right? And it's so funny because he's here right with me. So beautiful. So what actually happens is you can become a guide, okay? So we talk about spirit guides, and a lot of people say to me, Victoria, I want to know my spirit guides' names, and I want to know how many I have, and I want to know what they're telling me, and I want to be guided by them. And that's great. That's fantastic. And that is very much, again, a perspective and also what is correct for you energetically. For me, I don't really care. It sounds a bit crazy, but I'm like, I don't want to like waste my time zooming in on their names and what they want me to do and all these different things, because I'm like, oh, I'm so expansive. They'll come to me and tell me I'm on my roll. I know where I'm going and I don't want to stop, right? So I'll do meditations and tap into them that way and stuff like that. But it's all up to the individual on how deep they want to go. And I don't think names are very relevant to me anyway. And I have had a few names pop in and then I forget them straight away anyway. So I'm more energetic. I feel the energies of people, and I'm more 5D in that way than 3D and making things solid. That's me personally. But what I know to be true is there's different types of guides. Okay, so we've got angels, and I know there's definitely light beings. Definitely. I've seen a lot of light beings around me. They came in around about the time I was pregnant with my son. I was like, what the hell are these things in my house? And it was a little bit scary. But these light beings, they come from different planets. And then, of course, we have got entities. So it's not just humans, right? We sometimes with our little mind, our conditioned mind, we think, oh, the spirit guides, they must have been human. But that's not true. Even angels are light beings, and they may not look how you think they look, We have a perspective on how fairies look and unicorns and mermaids, and most of people don't think those things are real, but I know the energies of them, and I know they are all my guides. They are all my spirit team. Spirit team, because I don't want to be codependent, and nobody should be codependent to their guides, to their spirit team, because they are here for us. Yes, there are humans, spirit, they were humans that are on your team, of course, and ancestors. And there is team members, spirit guides that have been with you from a little baby until you die. Some may call that a guardian angel. They're with you forever, right? I always prayed to my guardian angel, even when I was a little girl. They just show me these little visions now. But then, your team changes as you change, just like your friends change and your school teachers change. Sometimes a lot of the time your partners change. Seasons change all the time. Now, what I know to be true is, we are guided by these beings and they will show us things. They will put synchronicities in. A lot of the time, it's our perspective and what our belief system is. That is where we're going, the vibration that we're heading in. Your spirit team are here for you, to help serve you, to help guide you. They do not have any motives of their own to gain from you. Like we have energetic exchange when it comes to being here on earth. I'm a projector in the human design, and, say you may be a generator who's listening to this. So when we get together, there's an energetic exchange. I'm like, thank you for that sacral energy. I require some energy, and you've got like oodles and oodles and infinite amount of that in your sacral. So, do you have any questions I can help dive into? Because I can look into your aura. That's an energetic exchange. We have money, we have all sorts of things, love, da, 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 da. But when it comes to your spirit team, they don't have any agendas or motives. They just come from a sense of, how can I contribute to you today? You tell them, and then they will put everything that you require from the highest frequency, what your soul is truly choosing. That's the thing, right? You're like, where's the money? And they're like, well, actually, it's, you asked for the highest good of yourself. So we've cleared this path for you. And this is what you're choosing. So it's all about what we are choosing, because we have free will. Even if it feels like people are trying to take those choices away from us, we still can create another possibility. And our team are there to help us. So grandma dies, right? She comes on and she's like, grandma's my guide. Yeah, she's your guide, but she's not necessarily on your spirit team, because she's definitely here to guide you and all the things like that. Of course, so is my grandma and my granddad and my nana, but it's not her sole purpose. Your spirit team and your guides, it's their sole purpose, because time is different. Time isn't real, but we've made it real in this 3D reality. We follow, it's the sun. The sun goes down, the sun comes up. It's 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock. We work on a time schedule. We work in this linear time frame, but in real reality, there is no time. There's no time, right? So energy does not require time. So the spirits that support you, they're not functioning on time. So, someone like a guide, like a spirit guide might be like, you know what? Like my friend's father here. It's like, I'm going to guide, I'm going to support, Jeremy in this life. I'm going to support Jeremy. That's what I'm choosing to do, because that feels good. He's a vibrational match for me. I don't know who Jeremy is, by the way, but he's a vibrational match. And I can see, what he's requiring, so I can support him. Now, because time is different in the spirit world, it's like literal. I don't actually know, so I can't be sure about this, but it's a lot faster. So I don't know the exact time difference, if you know what I mean. But supporting someone as a guide is beneficial for the guide, even though they have no motives or agendas, but they're learning through the eyes of the person that they are serving. That is their sole purpose. So they're floating in space. Oh, this is so nice. But they're always available for the person that they are being a guide for. Now, like I say, they may not be there for their whole entire life, depending on the choices that the human is making, because all of a sudden, Jeremy is like, boom, like he's expanded his consciousness so much and he needs another guide. So the other guide could stay there as well and support them in one area. And then they may choose to bring in another guide, another spirit team member to give him clarification and information on another area. So, of course, you don't just have one guide. You have a ton of guides. You may have like 30 guides. You may have like 13 guides. So they can come, they can go, they can stay. Some of them are there for your entire life. And some of them all of a sudden you're like, well, I remember an Indian guide that I had. And then I'm like, wow, I even got the name and everything. I was like, where's the Indian guide? The Indian guide's gone. Like, where's that guide gone? It's just like coaches. You get a coach and then you up level and you get an up level and up level and up level and up level. So you can have different coaches, of course, but they must be vibrationally matched to you. So reassessing and adjusting all the time. Asking your guides for clarification and guidance with no judgment on how that comes, because you're asking for the highest frequency of yourself and the highest vibration. That there is how to function. If you ask for help, you will receive it, but it may not be in the way that you think your perspective is that is the best way for it to come, because of course they have got this insight, this foresight of like what is actually required, and they will give you what is required, but they're not just necessarily going to be like, oh yeah, here's $1,000. I'm going to clean up that mess with your family over here, and I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this. But they can bring you money. They can bring you jobs. They can bring you the people and the scenarios, but it's not on a platter necessarily. It's like follow the yellow brick road, follow those breadcrumbs, tune in, listen. Be conscious within yourself, because then you can hear what they are trying to tell you, where they're trying to guide you, and it's always based on what you've asked for. Okay. So, that comes into your intuition again, which is the last point I wanted to make. And your intuition will always guide you. And your spirit guides can talk through your intuition. Okay. So, listening to your intuition is listening to what I call your authority in human design. So go look that up. It's all free online. You can go figure that out if you don't know already. And I'm a splenic projector, right? So what that means is, instead of listening to my head and thinking about things for too long and analyzing things, I'm not energetically aligned that way. I listen to my intuition, and it's quiet, and it's like a whisper, and it's like this golden nugget. And if I don't grab it, it disappears, So for me, it's like I have to be quiet and still enough to hear those intuitive hits, and they're never loud. And that is how my team, my guides work, is through my intuition. It's these hits they give me, and that is the same for you, because everybody has a different way of using their intuition. We always know what is best for ourselves. But when our head comes in and tells us that, no, well, the fear comes up like, why would you do that? We can go against what is actually energetically correct for ourselves. So this is when you actually say to your spirit team and your guides, whether it's your ancestors or your angels or the nature spirits around you, or, the light beings, whatever your team is, you can just like tap in and call all of them, hey, spirit team, can you please give me some confirmation or evidence in this direction that I'm going? And you can use a pendulum if you want to, but what they really desire for you to do is to trust your own instincts, trust your own intuition, not to be codependent on them, and actually be like, okay, yeah, I am in a little bit of a pickle. I'm not sure. I've gone to my head. I can't hear anything right now. So can you guys give me a bit of little guidance? And then you'll find things like random feathers or butterflies, or you'll just start finding money places, or someone will pay you, or you'll get a refund, or whatever it is you're inquiring about. And then you have to pick up on those little signals, those signs. That is confirmation, that is evidence that you're on the right track. So keep following those crumbs, keep following those golden nuggets, because those are the keys. They are little mini keys. And every time you go, thank you, and you open your heart, thank you for the feather. Thank you for the 10 cents. Thank you for the butterfly that landed on my hand. Oh my God. When you can sit in that and sit in gratitude and open your heart and acknowledge that it might not be the $100,000 that you've been asking for, or the $1 million idea, but you're making your way there as you're opening your heart and sitting in the gratitude, right? So it could be, may not be monetary, it could be, or business, it could be, do I homeschool my kids? Or do I move house or change my career? Or do I start something new? And then you follow the feeling. If it's loud, if it's very loud within your body, quite often that's like ego. But if it's quiet and humble and you can sit in gratitude and you can let it go if you must. If you need to let it go, you can let it go with no attachments to the outcome, because you can have total faith and trust that your spirit team will indeed back you up. So we don't need to hold on to the entities, the spirit, the loved ones that have passed. They will be with us. They are with us, just like I'm with my best friends right now. Even though I'm in front of this computer and my friends live in different countries and towns, I'm still energetically with them, or my children that are at school. I'm still energetically with them. So spirit is energetically with you. You don't need to hold them down. This is how we get haunted houses. This is how, that's usually unconscious beings or residue that stayed. It's another story. I talk a lot more about that in Magnificent Mediumship. But it's time to let them go. And it's time to trust that they will come back when you require them. It's time to know that if you have faith and if you surrender and if you follow those golden nuggets, that you will be guided greatly for the highest good of yourself and frequency. And we must not forget that our higher self is a part of our team. You're the CEO and you're the queen of your reality, or king. You're the producer. You're the writer, you're the director, and you're the main actor. So how do you like your show? How do you like your movie? Who are the characters in the movie? And are they of your highest frequency and your highest good and the highest vibration? There's going to be a big shift in guides coming up. And this is a lot of information that has come through for me this morning. There's going to be a lot of big shift, because a lot of people are going into fear and a lot of people are coming into a higher level of consciousness, which is more love-based, so 3D and 5D. There's nothing wrong with the 3D, but it does tend to have that solid density, which is where the polarity lies. So again, the choice word comes in. We have total choice, and there is no right or wrong. If people are choosing not to be conscious in this time, that's okay. Maybe you aren't meant to be if that's not what you're choosing. And if you are one of those beings that are not choosing to be conscious, then you wouldn't understood a word that I've just said. So it's most probably not you. If you are choosing to be more conscious, now, really pushing and pulling and trying to do that in a hard way is not consciousness. It's really about going, okay, what else is possible? I surrender, I have faith, and I will follow those golden nuggets. I will follow those nudges. I will follow my intuition and my yeses and my nos, and I will do the stuff that's even scary. I will invest in the things that really light me up, even if I'm scared. I know that I'm fully supported. And I also know that I can trust my own choosing, because it's not those times I followed my gut that got me in trouble. It was those times that I listened to my head and I didn't listen to my gut. So the intuitions, the guides, they are a huge part of your future, especially if you're choosing to become more conscious. And if you are choosing to become more conscious, having the awareness that there's a lot more anti-consciousness around as we're going through this shift on the world, the whole planet is going through this shift. There's going to be this swap out of guides. A lot of them need to go. The entities that have been sitting here with everybody holding on and not wanting to leave. We've got like these earth ancestors guarding the land. It's time for them to leave a lot of the time now. I'm clearing thousands a week of spirit. It's time for Nana to go. She can come back. It's time for my friend's dad. He had to go. he's come back. He'll go back and he'll come backwards and forwards. My granddad hasn't even left yet. Like he wants to sit around and watch his family and help us all out while they're going through some stuff that's been going on in my family. But he will go. Probably should go have a chat to him. Spirit have a choice, and so do you. Stop trying to make it all about how the guides are meant to guide us and we should listen to them. You must listen to yourself and invite the guides to be a contribution and to support you and guide you in that. Stop holding on to the spirit and thinking if I let them go, they won't come back. I promise you they will. You're just going to give them more freedom. And be open-minded when it comes to spirit guides. Now, this is all my belief, my perspective, what I've channeled through. You can take it or leave it. Like, there's no right or wrong. What you believe is your reality, like legit. But what I feel to be true is the coming and the going of these guides and the beings it's a really beautiful time of freedom for everybody. And if we can acknowledge that we are fully supported with our own teams, just like you're the CEO, that main actor, you've got all of this crew around you and they're here for you, then that's not ego. It's like, okay, well, if I'm fully supported, then, how can I have so much overflow and love and expansion in my spiritual reality and my human reality? How can I have so much abundance in all areas that the overflow just pours out of me so then I can be a contribution more to the earth and the beings in the earth? And that is what I aim to do in this reality, is to have free content, free resources, free programs, and to serve on all different levels financially, but also levels of spiritual awareness. So then people get to choose and engage in whatever way that they desire. So I trust that this made sense to you. Your loved ones will never actually leave you. They're always in your heart. They can come back to visit you. Please take note of the children around you and the experiences they are having at the moment and support them. The children are the ones of the world right now that we need to support and love unconditionally, because they are the ones that are going to be creating this beautiful conscious future. I send you so much love, and I just want to acknowledge the guys in the channels that have come through today. A lot of emotions are coming through. These are not mine. Listen to your intuition. Follow your truth and allow yourself to know what is right for you, because nobody knows more than you know. Sending you so much love, and I'll see you soon.
And that's a wrap for today. Thank you so much for joining the Release Your Blocks podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, I would love to hear from you. So please leave a review and tell me what your favorite takeaway from today was. There is so much more from where this came from. You can also find me at Holistic Energy Shifting on Facebook, where you can find more content, more coaching, and more guidance. Have a grand and glorious day, and I'll see you next time.